Learning English can feel boring when it's just textbooks and grammar charts. But when you connect language with real stories, wild, funny, even a little embarrassing ones, your brain pays attention. That's how you remember words and phrases without trying. That's how English becomes part of your life. So if you want to improve your English while being entertained, hit the like button, subscribe to RealSpeak, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next crazy adventure. Now here's today's story. I got locked inside the British Museum restroom. Jason had always loved museums. The quiet halls, the ancient artifacts, the feeling that time had stopped for a moment, it was his kind of place. So when he finally got to visit the British Museum, he was ready to spend the whole day exploring. He arrived right after it opened, holding a small paper map and wearing his favorite walking shoes. The museum was even bigger than he had imagined. He walked through rooms filled with marble statues, Egyptian mummies, and Viking swords. He read every plaque, every small detail about old coins, tools, and armor. He stopped in front of a giant stone from Mesopotamia and stared at the carvings for what felt like an hour. Sometime in the afternoon, after passing through a room full of Roman pottery, Jason realized he needed a short break. His legs were sore, and his stomach was making small noises. He decided to visit the restroom, then grab something from the cafe before finishing the second half of the museum. The hallway was quiet. The restroom door was slightly open, so he pushed it and stepped inside. It was empty. He washed his hands, fixed his shirt in the mirror, and stepped into one of the stalls to take a short break. Just 5 minutes, he told himself. Maybe 10. The air was cool, and the low hum of the lights made the space feel distant from the busy world outside. He pulled out his phone, looked at a few photos he had taken of ancient maps, and scrolled through messages. Nothing urgent. He leaned back a little and closed his eyes, just for a second. Then, silence. A strange, sudden silence. Jason opened the stall door and walked out. The lights were still on, but the sound had changed. No footsteps. No flushing. No one at all. He walked to the main door and gave it a push. It didn't move. He pushed harder. Nothing. He tried again, once, then twice. That's when he realized, the restroom door had been locked from the outside. He was alone. Inside the British Museum. Inside the restroom. He stood in the middle of the room, completely still. He waited for someone to enter. No one did. He knocked on the door. No answer. He laughed quietly to himself, unsure if it was funny or just strange. He tried calling the museum's number from his phone, but there was no signal inside the thick walls. He waved his phone in the air, stepped onto the sink, held it up near the ceiling. Nothing. Then he remembered, there was a small window near the top of the wall, above the last stall. It wasn't large, but maybe he could get someone's attention through it. He grabbed the metal trash bin, placed it under the window, and climbed up. He stretched as far as he could and managed to push the window open. Cool air rushed in. He stuck his head out and looked around. Below him was a staff-only courtyard, quiet, shaded, and completely empty. No one to shout to. No one to wave at. Jason climbed down, sat on the floor, and stared at the door. Time passed. Maybe 20 minutes. Maybe more. Then, a sound. Footsteps. Keys. A click. The door swung open, and a security guard stepped in with a confused look on his face. Jason stood up, nodded, and walked out without saying a word. Outside, the museum felt full of life again. People wandered past holding maps and brochures. The cafe buzzed with voices and clinking cups. He bought a small sandwich, sat by the fountain, and let the sun warm his face. It was as if nothing had happened. But something had. Jason had gotten locked inside one of the most famous museums in the world, and no one had even noticed. And while Jason was trapped behind a restroom door, you were learning English the fun way. You picked up phrases like, felt like an hour, waved his phone in the air, and climbed onto the sink. You followed natural verbs and sentence rhythms, and you absorbed story-based grammar without even thinking about it. That's the power of storytelling. It teaches you in the most enjoyable way possible. So if you like this adventure and want more stories to boost your English without the stress, hit that like button, subscribe to RealSpeak, and tap the bell so you don't miss what's next. Now tell us in the comments, what's the strangest place you've ever been stuck? We want to hear your story. It's great writing practice and a fun way to connect.